just like fashion. How is it, I think, like being a teenage girl growing up in Philly, specifically like a black girl growing up in Philly? Like I never went to school with a white person. Isn't that crazy? What makes me unique is not who I can copy, it's who I am and like what I can bring to the table. Hi, you all, welcome to Thrive. This podcast, or should I say show, is all about girlhood and womanhood, but based here in the city of Philadelphia. Thrive is a private club really centered for women who want to grow, get fit, be well, commune with other women who are like-minded. So I'm really excited about this private club. Welcome to Thrive Club, Danira. I'm really excited to have you today.
I'm glad to be here.
Good. Just tell you a little bit about Thrive because I know we are new to this space. However, I've known you for such a long time, and we're gonna get into that in just a second. But Thrive is a place where women and girls can come and commune together, get fit together, be well together, and really just create a sisterhood that I think is really missing in the city of Philadelphia. I think there's like a lot of different types of sisterhoods that people may have, or like groups, but they're not really accessible for girls like you and I, or women like me and girls like you. Do you think that?
Yeah, I feel like most spaces are kind of blocked off because many black girls in Philadelphia grow up impoverished and they're kind of, I'd say, maybe barred off from certain opportunities. So then they have like a closed off mind and think that they can only be so much instead of a growth mindset.
Exactly. And before we get into that, because that's a good word, a growth mindset, specifically with girls, let's introduce ourselves. So Danira, tell me a little bit about you, and then I'll tell them a little bit about me.
Okay, so as you know, I'm Danira. I've been with Thrive for almost 3 years. I'm a senior at Central High School. I'm into STEM, mostly, biology. I've been a part of multiple STEM internships. It's really nice to be around different individuals who are interested in the same things as you and who also have grown up in the same background.
Dope. And I'm very much similar, Danira. I'm Aaliyah. My first name is Aaliyah. I know you call me Miss Francis, but my name is Aaliyah, and I'm from Philly, born and raised, and I love STEM. I love science. I taught high school biology for such a long time, about 4.5 years, and I've been doing this program now for 4 years, which is crazy now that I think about it. But I've done a lot of different things. You know, I got my bachelor's from Spelman. I went and got my master's from UPenn. Also went to law school, and now I do healthcare and medical research. But outside of all of that, I do Thrive, which I think is really dope because not only am I like multifaceted, but so are you. And we kind of like have things in common. Like we're very similar, but different, very different. Because I'm non-binary and you aren't. So, which we'll talk about soon. But yeah, I think it's important just to introduce ourselves because this is something new, and I want, the people watching this to really get to know us as we go through this. How is it, I think, like being a teenage girl growing up in Philly, specifically like a black girl growing up in Philly? Like how has that been for you, and like how have you navigated that?
I'd say for me, growing up as a black girl in North Philadelphia especially, I'd say it's been a bit harder, especially because I go to Central. Mm-hmm. You're welcome into these predominantly white spaces, and you're expected to assimilate automatically, but that's not how it goes in real life. So it's like you have to not be closed off on who you can be and also be comfortable with who you are.
Mm-hmm. And assimilate, so you're supposed to assimilate at Central, right?
Yeah.
And that means like coming from whatever community you come from and you walk into Central, you're now supposed to adopt the common or the majority culture, which is like white culture, right? Do you feel like you have to assimilate?
I mean, for me, as I've gone through my years at Central, I've overcome the idea of assimilating because I've joined African American Student Union, mm-hmm. which is where we bring multiple black students together. We're all from different parts of the city. Some of us are mixed, come from different backgrounds. So I've overcome that idea, but I can see many people coming into Central and thinking that
that's how
they have to assimilate.
Yeah. I feel the same. Like when I was in high school, I went to Kappa, which is like another competitive school here in Philly. And when I went to Kappa, I'm from West Philly, like 49th and Westminster, which is like not that great of an area. But when I went to Kappa, I honestly never went to school with white people. I never went to school with a white person. Isn't that crazy?
I'd say kind of crazy, but throughout elementary school, I went to a school that was 100% black.
It was 100% black for me.
Like there were no white people, no Asian people, no Hispanic people. The only white people you would see were teachers. And that was about it.
That was about it. That's literally my entire elementary, middle school experience. Like everybody was black. Like I honestly never see, outside of teachers, I've never seen a white kid unless I went downtown or on TV.
Yes, I was so terrified of going to Central
Yeah.
because I was like, I've never conversated with a white person outside of a teacher. It's
outside
like,
of a teacher.
on the first day, I was like,
Yeah, so when I went to Kappa, I walked in the doors and I was like, first of all, my Kappa audition, you know how you gotta go and audition? You guys probably have to do a test.
yeah.
So we had to do a test and we had to audition. My middle school was so underfunded. I did a scene, but they actually do a monologue, and I didn't know the difference between a scene and a monologue. Then they said they wanted us to perform a song, a musical. I mean, not a musical song, but a piece from a musical. Guess what song I performed?
Was it like Beyonce or something?
SWV Week. Yeah.
No, I love that song.
I love that song. And I sung it till my eyes went blue. But I'm saying all that to say, when I walked into Kappa, I felt like I had to assimilate as well. And I had a really rough time in high school because I just couldn't assimilate. Like it just wasn't something that I could do. And then I think now as an adult, I have embraced the fact that what makes me unique is not who I can copy, it's who I am and like what I can bring to the table as authentically as possible. So I really just don't believe in assimilation anymore. I think that we live in a world now where people could just be themselves. So I think like now as an adult, I understand that. But as a teenage girl, I was fighting it. One of the reasons why I wanted you as my special guest today on the pilot episode of Thrive is because I feel like, you know, I've known you now for 3 years and I feel like you are a very insightful teenage girl, like 8, you know, but, well, not but, and I wanted to have you here to kind of, you know, share how being a part of Thrive, you know, this is a place where we want to build a sisterhood for girls in Philly and women in Philly. With all of the insight and the way in which you carry yourself and the way in which you go about the world, how has Thrive been able to support you in that journey so far?
I want to start off by saying with Thrive, I feel like it's a program that you can't just do for 1 year and then like stop going or only go for 1 year and then it's like, oh yeah, that's not for me. I feel like it's something that you have to stick around for because it's a program that's constantly changing because the world is also constantly changing. So it's like you have to be able to actually follow through with the program. But for me, I feel like Thrive has given me more confidence in different ways because before I was a little bit more quiet in the meetings, but now I'm in here greeting people and talking to new people.
Busy bee.
And starting conversations. But before, I was never like that. I was the most quiet one in the room. And I wouldn't really talk up to anybody because it's like, I guess you could say I was shy a little bit. I don't even think it was about being shy. It was just like being more introverted and not really wanting to talk to people. But once I came to Thrive, it was like, it wasn't a choice to just not talk to people because in order to be a part of Thrive, you have to be able to interact with other people who are like-minded.
Yeah. Like, what's your favorite part about program?
I say my favorite part about program, besides like the educational things, I would say Miss Francis.
Me?
She has like a great personality.
Oh, thank you.
And she makes things like fun. And like honestly, with other STEM programs, everything is much more formal. So it's like you go in and it's just like pushed through, you being lectured and everything like that. But here is less formal. And I want to say experiments that we done, like where we dyed the hair
with the
food because like the pH or anything like that.
Yeah.
It was fun because of who you are.
Nice. Okay. I appreciate that. I received that. Okay. I feel like at programs, some girls, we hit it off. Other girls, it's like, it's hard to break down the wall. And I know my personality is not for everybody. Like, you know, being funny is not easy. You know, it's really not. But I do feel, I appreciate that though. You know, I think that's important. And being a Black educator and teaching STEM, right? And that hair experiment is actually one of my favorite things to teach, like out of all time. Okay, cool.
Now, what's your favorite part about Thrive?
My favorite part about Thrive, STEAM specifically. Number one, I love all of the OG girls. I love like seeing y'all every year. I love seeing y'all grow. I remember you used to sit in the back of the room. We was on Ridge Avenue with your puffball and your glasses in the corner on your laptop, wasn't talking to nobody. And like you said, to see you now grow and thrive and like be like be so social is a beautiful thing to me. I also like seeing you all interact with each other and seeing that be so positive and raw and inspirational and, you know, just so supportive. Like I remember it was a point last year, and just thinking of you specifically, it was a point last year where like a girl was struggling with math. And I remember like you sitting there helping her figure out this math equation. And baby, I wasn't gonna be able to help her. Like once you get into imaginary numbers, I'm closed out. But watching you kind of like help her go through that and like trying to really help guide her, that was like, I was like, wow. And then just seeing you all just be sisters, I think that's like a huge part that serves me and kind of wakes me up every day. Like I really appreciate seeing young Black girls be sisters to each other. And none of y'all know each other. Like we take 30 girls and we put them in a room and none of y'all know each other. Y'all from different high schools, different backgrounds, different neighborhoods, and y'all just click.
I honestly feel like that's the fun of it, because it's like no one knows anyone. So it's like you kind of become comforted by the fact that not everyone knows each other, because it's like, okay, we're all new to this. We all have like the same base level.
Yeah, y'all all leaning into it. And I also like that like there's no ego. You know, there are some girls, I think in the early years who was coming to Thrive who had like a lot of ego. And that is just a coping mechanism. And I think those are the girls who also need it the most too. But you know, I think everyone comes with an open mind, like you said, and an even baseline. And I like that it's like a comfortability piece and not more like a fear, because I don't want it to ever be like a fearful thing.
Yeah, because I feel like as Black girls, we do have to get comfortable with being like different or new to a room, because it's like with like the statistics on everything, it's like Black girls do not make up majority of most like STEAM careers.
Exactly. And we will always be new to a room, right? Whether it's, you know, being the new Black girl or just being the new girl in general, right? Like you're going to have to put yourself out there, push yourself. And like you said earlier, have a growth mindset, you know, and I think STEAM is a place where girls can try and build their resilience up, right? And like practice and put themselves out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And throughout the process of like putting yourself out there, you also get to see like different professionals that have done it. Because I remember, I believe it was like an EMT. She had like the business with like I think it was like
Dejan.
Like
yeah,
that.
shout out to her. What is it? Perfect Care
I think so.
Transport. Shout out to Dejan, Perfect Care Transport. She spoke as a speaker feature series. At Thrive, we do a speaker feature series for our girls every year. We bring in professionals in the community who come and speak to our girls. Dejan is amazing because Dejan is a Black girl, lesbian from North Philly, and she used to be EMT, didn't really like how that went, and she decided to just go out and start her own, like do it herself. Now she got 2 trucks.
And she talked about like her struggle with that because she couldn't find anyone to network with. So I think STEAM has been like a perfect opportunity to start that networking early, because we like get mentors and everything like that. So it's like you get to see all these Black women, well, sometimes not even Black women, but just women in general in different positions that you could possibly see yourself in the future.
Exactly. And that's really like, that's the core of it, right? Like we really want Black girls to see themselves within other Black girls and other Black women, but women in general, right? Like I feel like we hear about, oh, I know this person does this, you can see them on Instagram, but how many times can a Black girl be in a room with a woman who does exactly what she wants to do when she hits 25 or when she graduates college, right? Like it's really not as likely and as common. Not saying that it doesn't happen, but I think that speaker feature series that's a part of STEAM is so important to me because number one, it's a way to get those Black women back in the room to give back and to mentor and guide, but also for you guys to see someone like yourself.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. It's like it's different between thinking about it and imagining it happen, but to be able to see it play out in front of you is like important to actually see, to give you more hope and motivation.
And to touch it. Because I feel like being from Philly, and I know I can say this, being from Philly and being from deep poverty and being like a first gen, and no one in my family went to college. Like I didn't know anybody who went to college. I didn't even know college was like a thing I should aspire to until I was like a junior in high school. Like, and my teachers were like, what you mean you're not going to college? Like you're smart. Like, what do you mean? But I think like having teachers at my high school who were Black women who went to college and was in sororities and like they went to HBCUs, seeing them and seeing that they were from Philly. Like I had a teacher who was from Philly, seeing that she was from Philly and she was from a neighborhood like me and she was, dark like me. She had a similar upbringing as me and she still was able to thrive. That for me gave me so much purpose and relevance to keep going. And it also gave me like a sense of belonging to say like, I belong here, I belong to, I could belong wherever I go. Whatever room I step in, I'm supposed to be there. And that's what I want the girls in STEAM to feel and know and move with that kind of air of confidence.
Yeah, I think with STEAM, it kind of gets rid of imposter syndrome because I did feel that once I entered my high school. Because it's like predominantly white and Asian, it's like, do I really belong here? And you get in a room full of smart people where you thought you were smart, but then you get in there and it's like, am I really still smart? According to the standards of Central. So it's like, you constantly have to feel like you're the odd one out in the room. But like with STEAM, it's like, it got rid of that.
Yeah, and that's super important. And I'm happy we're doing that because this is not easy. Like, I think starting a program like this in Philly is not easy. Going from subleasing someone else's space and now having our own cafe is not easy. And funding is not easy. But I think, like, because you guys are such amazing girls, we get up every day and we keep doing it because we know that they're, like, if we don't do it, then who will, right? And we do it on a micro level of 30 girls every year, but I feel like our impact expands way beyond just the girls in this room. Just the girls when you guys bring your friends or the women we bring in. It's just a really beautiful program, and I'm really happy that it is where it is today.
I honestly feel like STEAM kind of motivated me to like add a little thing onto my bucket list. Like when I get older, I'm gonna open like multiple nonprofit clinics around like honestly just the country, but then expand out into the world. But for me, I've seen like a lot of people grow up impoverished and everything like that. So it's like they deserve to have like proper health care and actually be taken care of correctly and not to be stripped of it just because of whether or not they have insurance or something like that.
Exactly. Yeah, that's tough to see. I'm so happy about that. So I wanted to pause for a commercial break.
Super excited to invite you to Thrive Private Club. Yes, it's a private club for women entrepreneurs, women creatives, women who really are super ambitious and they want to meet new people. We have 3 different types of memberships for the Thrive Club. The first membership is called the Networker. The Networker is $50, and what I really like about the Networker is that you get to be in a co-working space, meet other like-minded women, hang out, lounge, maybe be a busy bee, and really just enjoy the full perks of our cafe that is exclusive to just you and other members. In addition to that, you will have free coffee to fuel your success. Next membership is called the Innovator. The Innovator is all the perks of the Networker, but on top of those perks, you also get to rent out Thrive Cafe for free once. And then last but not least, we have the Visionary. This is for the women who really want to take their business to the next level. They really want to grind, they really want to hustle. Not only do you get the perks of all the other tiers, but in addition to that, you get to rent Thrive Cafe as many times as you would like. You heard that right. Imagine you're an entrepreneur, you want to host a business class, and you're sick of paying $900 per class. Well, you can join Thrive Private Club and pay $250 a month, where you can host unlimited sessions based on your own needs. This private club is really for Philly women who really are ambitious, creative, and like I said before, like-minded. And to join this club, you only have to do one thing. You have to click the link in our bio and sign up.
What made you start Thrive?
Oh, that's a great question. I started Thrive. Back in the day, it actually used to be called Heal the Hood Project, which is very long, right? Yeah. Very long, very tongue-tied. But I think for like 2020 and like the pandemic, like it made sense to be called Heal the Hood Project. But I kind of feel like it's one thing to heal a community, it's another thing to see a community thrive. And that is something that I realized as I was doing the work. I wanted to really just start a nonprofit where I can help serve my community. And it really just started out as like a grassroots thing where I was like doing food drives and like getting masks to people and getting food out there. And like I was getting free books and free toiletries and things of that nature. That kind of work is super important. But I knew that like I wanted to do something more deeper, something more sustainable, and something where I could like bite my teeth in and like stick around. And I just don't want to do something that's like a once a year thing, like a pop-up. So I started Heal the Hood Project. And again, we transitioned to Thrive. But it was for that reason because I'm from West Philly. I know what it's like to be in a single parent household. I know what it's like to not have all the things you need. And specifically as a girl. I'm not saying that like being a boy or, being a black boy or being a black man doesn't have its own perils or equity gaps. But I think for Black girls, I think we're often sometimes ignored when it comes to the equity gaps in Philly. People really don't talk about the plight and the things that we go through. There's a lot of different things, like even gun violence. When people think about gun violence in Philly, who do they automatically think of?
Black men.
Black men or Black boys. But Black girls in the year 2020 and the year 2021 were the #1 victims of gun violence in the city of Philadelphia. Not saying that we were the highest demographic who perished, but 620 women in the year 2020 and 2021 was impacted by gun violence. I mean, direct victim. And I think when we talk about gun violence, we talk about equity gaps, Black and brown girls are just never in the conversation. As if we don't live in the same neighborhoods too. As if we don't live in the trenches too, on the same blocks as the boys. And I just don't like that. And I think like we should be a part of the discussions because we're gonna be ignored, you know? So I wanted to start an organization where we focused on the girls. That's how we stuck to the game. Like that's where we are and that's what we do. And not only do we focus on girls, we focus on women because equity gaps don't just end with girls, it also precedes them to womanhood. And we want to make a difference at all stages and all transitions of girlhood to womanhood. So that's how Thrive came.
Okay, so moving away from Thrive and just like your individual startup, what about Thrive Cafe?
Thrive Cafe. So Thrive Cafe is still a part of Thrive, the nonprofit, but Thrive Cafe is a little bit different, right? So that's like a subsidiary, so like another part of the business where we grow income so that we can fund the nonprofit. And Thrive Cafe is this beautiful space that we're in right now, which I love. I designed this entire space myself. I always want to open my own coffee shop. I love coffee. I love socializing. I love working. Like I love to work. I love to be on my laptop. And I really wanted my own coffee shop. But I wanted to do it in a way that married multiple ideas because I kind of feel like as a creative, I have so many different ideas and they are never all interconnected. And I was like, how can I make my nonprofit and the coffee shop make sense together? So I decided to open something called Thrive Cafe, where now is a private club for women and girls in Philadelphia who want to, again, grow, create and get fit, because we also have a private gym downstairs where we offer wellness classes, open gym hours, and it's beautiful. I designed that all too. But it was really a way for me to marry my ideas because I have so many ideas. I want to be a master of all my ideas, but I think it's very important for me to see if I can make them blend. Yeah. So that's kind of where Thrive Cafe is now.
I love that idea.
Thank you.
What exactly does the private membership come with?
So here's the private club is super important and super fun because number one, I think STEAM by itself is like a private club for girls, right? Like it's a very exclusive club. Like to be in STEAM, you gotta have straight A's, right? You gotta be of a certain economic background. Like you gotta be low income, you gotta be from a single parent household, and you gotta be a thriver. Like you gotta be a girl who's really about that, right?
For this time, I feel like this is a good time to be a little broke.
It's a good time to be a little broke, right? What you mean?
Cause like sometimes when you look out there and there's opportunities, you see most of them and they're like low income.
Oh, low income, yeah, low income, yeah.
Another way to put it is like it pays to be poor.
It pays to be poor. In certain circumstances, it pays to be poor. That's important. And moving away from the idea that poor is a bad thing, it's like that's some of the socioeconomic conditions that some of us were born in. And the thing about STEAM is like a private club for girls, right? It's a club for poor girls who are very ambitious and very driven academically and socially, right? All of you guys have grades above a C+. Almost 90% of you guys all have straight A's. Like it's rare that we see girls in STEAM with C+. And you guys, of course, are from single parent households. It is a very small niche of girls. And I want to create a club for women. I wanted to create a club for women where women from all different backgrounds in Philadelphia can come together and thrive and grow and build together and have thought partnership and really be a part of a niche community similar to STEAM. Not saying that we all got to be high achievers academically or anything like that, but if you are a creator, you are a business owner, you are a woman who, has like a lot of ambition and you want to network with other women, that's a thriver. That's a woman like we want, that's someone we want in our club. Because I think when you get good minds and great minds in a room together, magic happens. And in every other city across the country, there's something like Thrive. Like you go to Atlanta, you see a lot of women in Atlanta always networking with each other, always, cross-pollinating their resources with each other, always collaborating with each other. And that's like a part of their culture. You go to Chicago and it's very similar. You go to Seattle, it's very similar. Even with women who are non-Black, this is a thing. But I think here in Philly, because of our culture,
There's like a disconnect.
it's a
between
disconnect.
all women.
It's a disconnect. Everybody want to do all their own thing in their own silos. And I think when women come together, we do things much bigger. And that's all I want to do here at Thrive at the club. I want women to come together, share the resources, network with each other, grow together, build wealth together, and create together, co-work together, get fit together. It's really a lifestyle being at this club. So yeah, that's where that came from. Would you be a member?
Absolutely.
Period. I now welcome you.
Period.
Cheers. But no, yeah, that's really what Thrive Club is. I'm really excited about it. Yeah, we're gonna do big things. Yeah.
What does Thrive do for you?
What it does for me? It's like my kid. I don't have kids or anything, but like if I was to say I'm raising something, it would be Thrive, right? Like I feel like this is like a part of one piece of an empire that I want to build like within my life. And I think Thrive is like a part of that empire.
Would you say that Thrive has helped you grow through your womanhood?
Yes. I think working with teenage girls, working with grown women from different sectors of different industries and getting them here. I think working with funders, working with different grants. I've grown as a woman in all areas of my life, both professionally and personally. Personally, I have learned how to work with teenage girls, mind my tongue. Because you know my personality. I'm gonna kind of say what is on my mind. I'm not gonna really think about it. But I think working with teenage girls, you gotta really think about it before you say something, because girls are fragile, right? Like you can't just say anything to a teenage girl, right? So I think I've grown to like be more mindful with the things I say, mindful with how I behave, and like, I'm slower to say things and I'm more eager to listen. And I think that's like a trait I picked up at program. Another thing would be, one thing you guys have taught me too is to be accountable. Because like if I forget something, you guys were like, Ms. Francis, remember you said we was gonna do X, Y, and Z? And like you guys hold my feet to the fire, and I appreciate that. So like, I think it made me boss up in terms of like just my programming in general, like what we offer as a service and like how we support you all. I think like having you guys hold me accountable has made me a better woman too. And that has like spilled over into like my personal life. Like I think now I go above and beyond with the things that I said I'm gonna do, because I know people are counting on me, and I appreciate that from program. Professionally, there's so much I could say. But opening up a cafe by itself was a lot professionally, because it's a lot that goes into opening up your own cafe, your own business, money management, budgeting. That has done a lot for me as a woman.
What would you say was the hardest part
About this whole thing?
about just opening up the cafe in general?
That's a good question. I think the hardest part is making a profit. I think that's the hardest part. I think with any new business, I think you've really got to think about, how are you going to make money now? And I think we make money at Thrive, like outside of like offering our services. But I think we want to really maximize this opportunity to the best we can. So I think really just crafting out our business plan and like following through with that business plan and putting yourself out there, having confidence. Because you got to really put yourself out there as a business owner. Like you got to post even when people don't like it. Like you could post something, you only get 5 likes, and you can't let that crush your ego and make you not want to keep doing your business. You can, be open 9 to 5 every single day and not make $1 one day, but you've been here all day waiting for somebody to walk in and buy a coffee. Like my first week, I made $17.
I mean, profit is a profit.
Well, technically
not really.
That is a loss.
Yeah.
Because you got to think about the supply, and that's another thing. You might get money, but then you got to think about all the expenses, like coffee. You got to have a coffee vendor. So La Colombe, they cost money. It's like $2,000 a month to get vending from La Colombe, right?
And the money goes right back into the business.
Go right back into the business. You got to buy an espresso machine. You got to buy cups. You got to buy, paper towels. You got to buy straws. You got to have a cleaner, because people come in, people go out. You got to pay lights. Like it's a freaking business. So I think that's the hardest part, just, being cognizant that this is also a business on top of it being a nonprofit. A nonprofit is still a business. You still got to have income coming in. So I think that's the hardest part. And then the bar.
Would you say you struggled with getting your foot in the door in the world of entrepreneurship?
That's a good question.
Like,
no.
There's one thing to like start a business, but like there's another thing for the business to like actually flourish first try.
That's great. To flourish. Getting myself in the door, no. For some reason, I always been like an entrepreneur. Even when I was an undergrad, I was like an entrepreneur. I used to do hair in my dorm.
Are you forgetting about high school where you were selling bundles?
Oh, in high school, I was selling bundles. I used to, back in the day, y'all, AliExpress, you can get 4 bundles for $100. I used to sell bundles, $100 each. I used to only get them for like $25 a bundle. I used to take the bus from, it was like the 23 or something, from wherever my high school is. I used to go all the way through North Philly. I used to go to Broad Ear. I used to sell all these girls bundles. It was called Pretty Hair back in the day. Y'all remember me. But I used to sell bundles in high school, and then when I went to college, I used to do hair in college. I used to do makeup. I went to all-girls school. So it was just easy to make money. And I just always been like a no-shame person. I used to work at Nordstrom, so I'm used to like doing sales. I will walk up to somebody and say, "Hey, you look so nice today. Did you know we're having a sale? And that bag that you have right now, we have the newer version. You would really, really like it. And it will look really good on you, girl."
I would have bought the bag.
You would have bought the bag. Like, I can really sell something. And even if the person like give me iffy vibes, I'll find something to make them laugh or giggle. So I don't know, I've always been a saleswoman. Like if Avon was still around, I think I would do good with Avon. So I think not getting into entrepreneurship, no, it wasn't hard. Having it flourish has been the hard part. So again, I was lucky enough to have an idea that was able to get funded, which is STEAM. And we've been able to get funding every year since I came up with the concept. And I was lucky with that, right? Like, I just think, I want to say I'm lucky. I think it's divinity. But it just worked. But I will say in the first couple years of STEAM, I didn't like the fact that we didn't have our own space because we weren't able to expand and scale. And now that we do have the opportunity, I want to see it flourish. So that is a goal of mine. So I don't really know. To that second part of your question, we have to see if we flourish. And I know God wrote it, so I know it's gonna go. Okay. Where is Dinera in 5 years?
In 5 years, I'll probably be in like my senior year of college, hopefully, at Spelman. We're gonna manifest it at Spelman. Not
Spelman.
Hopefully.
A Spelman woman.
Yep. I'll be majoring in biology, minoring in sociology. I've always loved that course. I helped my dad with it when he was taking his college courses when I was in like 7th grade, I think. It was like a really fun course. I'll probably be a part of some internships. I'll probably be in a French club. Got to expand my horizons, actually learn some new things.
Period.
And yeah, I believe I'll be applying, I don't think for med school yet,
By
but
your
it'll be in
senior year.
mind. Yeah.
Should be in med school. What do you plan to do after medical school?
I want to become a pediatric cardiologist.
Nice. And what made you want to do that?
I've always wanted to be a doctor, specifically a pediatrician. But recently, I think about 2 years ago, my dad and his wife, they had 2 twin boys. Both of them were born with heart conditions. I believe one with tachycardia, another one like tricuspid valve stenosis or something like that. It was like, it really inspired me to like actually see an actual family going through like their child having like a critical condition and everything like that. Cause it's like different to actually see it instead of like only hearing about it, but to actually experience it is different. So it's like, I actually want to be able to help other families.
Yeah, which is dope. And I think in medical school right now, there's really not a lot, there isn't, like the data will tell you, there's not a lot of Black women in medical school, but Black people in general. So I think like knowing that is your ambition just really, again, I think just proves that you're gonna do very well. Closing the gaps. Bridging the gaps.
Hopefully that 5% of pediatric cardiologists will be decreased by the time I get there. Hopefully. It probably won't, but wishful thinking.
Period. And with that being said, we can't wait to see Dinera thrive. And thank you all for joining Thrive. And we can't wait to share our next episode with you guys in 2 weeks. And if you did not know, we're going to be releasing episodes every 2 weeks. So make sure you go to our bio, you subscribe, you follow us on Twitter, you follow us on TikTok, and Instagram, but you're probably already watching this on Instagram, or you're probably on our website by now.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you for coming to Thrive, and thank you to our special guests, and thank you so much, Danira.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.